May I request Ms Rachana Bhusari, Vice President Listing Business Development, National Stock Exchange, to come on stage to deliver a presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together in welcoming Ms Rachana Bhusari from National Stock Exchange.
So good afternoon to all the participants here, and thank you for having me today at this session at the buyer-seller meet of the cashew. It's great to meet you all in physical. It's virtual is ending and physical is starting is really a great moment, and the number of people participating in this session is really overwhelming. So thank you for having me here. And just to set the context, National Stock Exchange of India is the premier stock exchange of India with a 95% market share in the cash segment, and we are ranked first number in the world in the derivative segment for the last 3 years. So we also have an SME platform for which I'll be talking to you about, and what has interested more companies to come on this platform. And today I'm here because we saw one cashew company from Maharashtra listing on the NSE SME Platform, which actually cast a lot of excitement amongst the cashew producers as well as the cashew industry, and that's why I was called here to make a presentation on the Emerge platform. So this is in the interest of all the SMEs who are in the small and medium enterprises, who are in growing businesses and need funds to raise and propel their growth to the next level. So while I talk about this, the first question that comes across to us is that most of the SME companies, most of the companies already had a platform to list. Then what is the need for another platform? Why should there be a separate platform when there was an existing platform where larger companies were listing? So the reason was that we saw that these smaller companies were not able to meet the requirements that were stipulated, and hence they were not able to raise funds, and the only mechanism of fundraising left to them was either their own funds or through the banking channels. But it was felt that they should have an option to access the public markets as well. And hence this platform was launched, that the small and medium enterprises can list onto the stock exchanges and also raise funds using the public markets. But again, was the SME sector geared up for this? Was the SME sector having the value structure, the organization structure, and the value proposition that helped them to list? Again, was becoming a concern, and hence a different carve-out was made to them, a different eligibility criteria was set up for them so that they could actually meet the requirements necessity for listing and come and raise funds on the public markets. So when this platform was launched, also a thought process was put in place that whatever is the current ecosystem that need not be disturbed, but for corporates we should make it more easier. So having said that, the intermediaries who were already doing the capital market, who were doing the raising of funds, who were facilitating the corporates, they were kept the same. The investors were made to trade easily into this segment, and the trading members also could trade into the segment without any formalities. So for corporates, there was a different criteria. So again, here an attempt was made not to confuse anybody on the eligibility criteria. So it was said that any company with a paid-up capital of 25 crores can list onto this platform. So please don't ever get confused about the fact that, my MSME definition, I'm an M, I'm an S, or I'm a large corporate. There's no comparison here. You just need to have a paid-up capital in the range of less than 25 crores and you become eligible to list on the SME segment. So once your eligibility criteria of paid-up capital is met, the second criteria that NSE put in place is that you should have 3 years of track record and 2 years of profitability and a positive net worth. Again, when the 3 years of track record was contemplated, we realized that most of the SME entrepreneurs were not working in a corporate structure. They didn't have a private limited company or a public limited company. They were either operating as a sole proprietor or a partnership or an LLP. So we said that no issues, you can be a newly incorporated company for the purpose of listing, but if your track record is that the promoter was doing the same line of business previously as well, the benefit of track record is passed on to the company as well. So that took care of most of the issues which the SME entrepreneurs came to us about their org structure. And once you meet the eligibility criteria, what is the regulatory framework that differentiates an SME from a main board company? Yeah, the slides more talks about that it's a growing company when they've exhausted their own funds and they've already exhausted the banking channel, need further funding. They can think of raising funds through the capital markets. It's a growing company at that stage. So the regulatory framework is differentiated to allow SME companies to list seamlessly. They said that we understand that you cannot have multiple investors participating into your IPO because you may not be as known as a larger corporate. Your presence would be very local. So 50 people applying for an IPO could make it successful. Or the other differentiation in the regulatory framework that was stipulated was that you have to have 100% underwriting. This ensured that if any entrepreneur decided to come up with an IPO, his IPO would not fail because of undersubscription. The merchant banker who does the due diligence or undertakes to complete the IPO has to also underwrite mandatorily so that the IPO is complete. This completely safeguarded the entrepreneur from an IPO failure and also cast a lot of obligation on the intermediary to complete the IPO only after he was sure that he'll be able to get the subscription. So that proved to be quite an important advantage to the SME entrepreneur. The other thing that was differentiated was market making. Considering that this will be not a very liquid stock in the secondary market, to ensure that there's mandatory liquidity, a market maker has to be appointed, and this market maker mandatorily ensures that you have a buy and a sell quote during the day 75% of the time, so that any investor who wants to exit or enter at any point of time, there is a liquidity available through the market maker. Very, very important differentiation that was given in this regulatory framework was that you don't have to go to the regulator SEBI for approval. So it's not about just funding, it's about timely funding that is important. So it is important that you get your funds on time, and hence approvals also have to be fastened. And hence, in this case, only the stock exchange approval is required. You need not go to the SEBI for your approvals. So again, that helped SMEs in the long run. And today, with all this regulatory framework put in place, we at NSE have around more than 250 companies which have got listed on this platform. And nearly 4,000 crores of funds have been raised. And 21 sectors have participated in this growth story of 250 companies. And like I said, we recently had a cashew company which got listed from Maharashtra called Imperial Cashews, and they raised funds around 19 crores, listed with a price of 47 rupees per equity share, and last I checked they were trading at 135 rupees per share. So that's the growth this platform has demonstrated, and I'm sure it was a dynamic team of the promoters who decided to take this leap of faith and move into the capital markets. Mostly what bothers entrepreneur or the team is being listed entity and puts them onto scrutiny, puts them onto a lot of pressure for compliances, but SEBI in the regulatory framework has given some dispensations with compliances, and what is quarterly for a main board company is half yearly for a SME company. So that takes a lot of burden off the SME companies to be compliant very frequently and add to the cost of compliance. Other important benefit that this platform is giving is migration. You list onto the SME platform, you stay there for 2 years, you understand the capital markets, you have some level of growth in the public markets, and then you are able to migrate to the main board. So this is something which has really worked very well for SME companies, and today while I talk to you, 107 companies have migrated from the SME platform to the main board. So that again demonstrates a very strong growth that these companies have shown on the capital markets. Investors, this is a market which is for informed investors, so there's not a very retail participation that happens in SME IPOs because the lot size is in multiples of 1 lakh and above. This takes care of participation only by informed investors. We at NSE are completely committed to help you walk this process, and hence right from the day that you decide you want to go with an IPO or decide to tap the capital markets, we would walk the path with you. We would help you select an intermediary. We would also help you in your due diligences if you need any clarity from us. And while your DRHP is being prepared and filed with the exchange, and once approval is given, you're good to go and launch your IPO. So it's a very seamless process, and it's quite time-bound process, I would say. I think what my experience with dealing with SME companies, one of the SME companies actually decided and launched their IPO in 100 days of their deciding to launch the IPO. So it's not that it's a very, very long haul process that people get scared about, that no, I don't want to waste my 6 months and energy on this. No, it's not like that. It's about your preparedness and it's about your commitment to go for public markets to raise funds. What happens when you raise funds? Because one thing is, companies tell me, I think my bank is able to give me all the funds. I don't need to list. I don't see the need to list. But I think that's one part. Bank and equity are complementary to each other. They're not substitution to each other. Let's all understand that. And what benefit that a company derives out of being a listed entity is that it enjoys higher credibility, huge credibility the moment it's a listed entity. They're able to actually, I think being a listed speaks more for them than they're able to speak for themselves. The second important point is that they enjoy higher visibility, very, very high visibility. Like, I don't know, when I got a request from the Cashew Association today to be speaking here, the top was that we've seen one of our cashew companies. So I don't know how many people this invite was have gone to, but this company got the visibility in all the invites that was sent by this association for this buy and seller meet. So I'm saying is, this is just one of the instances that I'm talking to you about. This company has been the talk in various sessions now, and I think a lot of people are looking at them. SME companies are also being now sought after for policy advocacy by the government of India. So it just gives you enhances a lot of visibility for these companies. Important 2 points, though I have listed down many other slides due to paucity of time, I just come to 2 points. Very important to understand is the promoter is able to derive an appropriate valuation by being a listed entity. Because this unlocking of wealth and the wealth creation part starts with being a listed entity. You dilute 25% of your equity to come with an IPO. The valuation of the 25% is reflected in your 75%, which again helps you add more value to your company. You're able to pledge it, take a loan against your shares, and it also provides you as further collaterals to infuse capital. So like I said, it's very complementary to each other. The other thing, very important point, is migration, which I've covered, and ESOPs. In case you need to retain talent, you need to attract talent, it offers you a very good tool to offer ESOPs to your employee. And actually, if you're a listed entity, they can see a value in those ESOPs that's being allotted. The rest is, I think, very self-explanatory. Borrowing terms, I'll just spend a minute on this. All the companies that have got listed on the NSE SME platform have come back and confirmed this to us, that they are able to enjoy better borrowing terms with the banks, because they are able to have, they have to pay lesser interest rates to the banks as compared to an unlisted entity. And I think this is a direct impact on the balance sheet and the profit and loss of the company. So I think it's a great advantage that people should really take factor in and make a conscious decision of tapping an alternate funding mechanism. I'm here today because we are committed to spread as much as awareness possible for the SME segment to tap the public markets, to use this alternate fundraising mechanisms. We do a lot of awareness sessions. We have multiple tie-ups with state governments. Some of the state governments have been very committed to support the SME segment, and they've also said that a part of their issue expenses would be granted as subsidies. So state of Maharashtra, state of Gujarat, Haryana, Punjab, in their industrial policy or through various MOUs executed with us, have committed that a part of the issue expenses would be either reimbursed or given as a subsidy up to 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs. So that's the commitment that the governments have shown to these SME companies. It's just about the entrepreneur taking the decision and moving ahead. I think the ecosystem is all there to support them, provide them with all the things that they need, and everybody's watching them, listening to them to see that what it needs to get them more into this public market space. Just a quick snapshot of how the SME index looks like. This is not a tradable index, this is just a dissemination index, but SME companies didn't want to feel left out of being not part of a Nifty index, so we have a Nifty Emerge index. This is how the growth of the SME index has been. You can see it's been really doing well. I think it's just a matter of time that you'll think that they tap the alternate funding mechanism. We are all there to support you. Eager to look forward to have you on the platform here. Thank you so much.